So I am heading to Starbucks. I guess I'm gonna be editing
America's treasures and discover a national park adventure.
quite a bit of this out.
Under legislation approved by the House yesterday,
I'm listening to NPR.
could appoint South Carolina's.
So over here we have Verizon, we have Five Guys, we have Michaels and Petco, a nail place, a bunch of car dealerships. We have a Lowe's, and then over here we have Walmart and the Dollar Tree. And then back here between Michaels and Lowe's is Starbucks. Okay, so see, I am at Starbucks. I am about to leave Starbucks. I have my coffees in the car. And Starbucks right back there. I'm going to go home and do a mini artist date at home at my dining room table with some sketches. I think that's what I'm going to do, some watercolor sketches maybe. I've got this book, the new book about the watercolor sketching, and I think I'm going to have some fun with some watercoloring. And then I'm going to take my son to work because he goes in at 11. And then I'm going to start writing. I'm really excited. It's going to be a good day. I've been up early. I've got my coffee and I'm ready to go. Bye. Hello, it's Burgess Taylor, and it is week 3 of the Artist Ways self-guided 12-week course. Week 3 is the recovering of a sense of power. She talks about anger and shame and synchronicity and growth and all these good things. It starts out with, this is what it says at the very beginning. This week may find you dealing with unaccustomed bursts of energy and sharp peaks of anger, joy, and grief. You are coming into your power as the illusory hold of your previously accepted limits is shaken. You will be asked to consciously experiment with spiritual open-mindedness. I learned a lot in week 3. I learned that I have anger directed towards myself that I didn't even realize. And as I delved into this chapter, I realized I'm pissed off at myself because I have self-doubts, because I procrastinate, because I self-sabotage. I feel like I'm living the life, I have imposter syndrome because I don't feel like I'm a real artist, or because I don't feel like I'm a real writer. And I say artist loosely because an artist can be a photographer, a musician, a writer, a poet, a screenplay writer, an actual artist as in like somebody who is an illustrator or a watercolorist or somebody who does portraits or any number of things. So I think that using the term artist just kind of encompasses all of that. And one of the other things I've realized that I am really pissed off about myself is that I have actually procrastinated and avoided things out of fear and anxiety because of self-doubt and sabotaged myself to the point where it has hurt me creatively. And that's one of the reasons why I even started the course. Once I found out about the Artist Way, and I thought, okay, well, this book is supposed to be really great about how to live a creative life, to get you back into living a creative life. I was like, oh, I have to try this. So I'm doing it. I was not very comfortable facing some of the things that I was angry about. Being angry with yourself and realizing that you're holding some of that anger inside, that you have brushed it off, avoided it, evaded it, ignored it. That's not necessarily a good thing. But mostly, like I said, it's directed at myself. I also realized that I have quite a bit of shame, and that's usually from our past. It's baggage that comes from the past. There is the logical part of me, and this has come up several times. I've actually mentioned it before. The sane, logical, oriented person who believes that all this creative stuff is a bit frivolous, childish, and that who wants to and does often tell the artistic part of me that I need to kind of grow up, that this is not necessarily a waste of my time, but my whole life doesn't need to revolve around being a writer or doing art journal pages or doing both, or I need to kind of choose. I need to be a grown-up. I need to get a real job. I have things that I need to do, housework, life work, all kinds of stuff, and I don't have time to be devoting this much time to writing a book or to working on artistic creative projects. Even comes up when I'm doing do-it-yourself projects or the home. And I will tell you something, and I read The Synchronicity, I realized something about myself. Well, let me go back to the artistic side first. I'm not the dreamer. The artistic part of me dreams about do-it-yourself projects. Daydream about that. I literally dream about my characters. I talk to my characters. I leave a wake behind me of pens and markers and pencils and washi tape, and this pencil case is usually with me wherever I go, unless I'm cooking. It's not in the, usually it's not in the kitchen with me. It could be on the dining room table or in the living room or in here or in the bedroom, but yeah, sometimes it goes with me when I go places. And I got married in September of 2012, and we had a very, very, very small budget. We were doing an outdoor wedding. It's at my parents' home, and so we had to do a lot of it ourselves. I made my own bouquets. I made mine. I made the ones for my maid of honor, my matron of honor, my bridesmaids. I made one for my mom, my mother-in-law, and my aunt, because once I made all of them, my aunt, for me, she took them and put them into the round, made them an actual bouquet once I made the flowers. And it was much more round. What I did was I took jars. This was probably an Alfredo sauce jar, and I decorated them. And this ribbon is the same color as my dress. My dress was gunmetal gray. And these are made out of, they were made out of sheet music, and I have the yellow one in the middle for remembrance of my father and my grandfather and my husband's uncle, for the people who had passed away. And like I said, when this was originally done, it was much more round. But each person in my wedding, the bridesmaids, each person in my wedding, I asked them for their favorite color, and I took cardstock and I printed sheet music on it, and I did their bouquet in whatever they chose. They wore simple black dresses, little black dresses. I didn't do anything fancy. All I asked was that they wore silver shoes. They could be silver flip-flops, silver sandals. Hell, they could have worn silver Converse, and I'd have been okay with that. The wedding was outdoors. But I had a couple that, there were some people who had a green, like one of my friends had a green one. My one cousin had a orange one. My one cousin had a red one. My daughter wanted red. My mom's was purple. Another cousin had purple. One of my friends, hers was done in like a red and a white. And there were some that, were mixed up. Pretty much, I think I had every color but the yellow. I had purple and blue and red and orange and a mixture of red and white and the green and the orange. So we had a mixture. Blue, yeah. Mine had the yellow rose in the center, which worked for me. There were people who were asking if I could, where I'd gotten them, what I'd done. I told them I had made them. And there were people who were telling me I should open an Etsy shop and I should sell them. I should make them and sell them. And I thought about it. My daughter even said the same thing. Mom, you could sell these. You could, people would love these. And there was a lot of work put into those. The night before our wedding, my husband and me and my daughter all finished up the last bit of them. I couldn't do it. There was not enough time for me to finish all of them by myself. And the morning of the wedding, my aunt put them all together in the bouquet with the ribbon and stuff. I bought all the supplies. I went searching for how-tos, and I did it. And I had a lot of fun doing them, but by the end, because I made 5 for the bridesmaids, mine, 6. I made one for my mother, my mother-in-law, and my aunt. So I made 9 of those bouquets. And let me tell you something, that was a lot of pieces of paper. It's a lot of hot gluing. And there's like a template, so I had to print out the sheet music onto the cardstock. Mine and a couple of the others had real sheet music, that if there was sheet music that had the color of theirs, I added that to theirs so it was mixed up. It wasn't just cardstock. Each bouquet had at least 1 or 2 sheets of sheet music petals that were in there, that made into roses that were in there. It was a lot of work. And I was like, you know what? I would love to have an Etsy shop, and I had a really good time. And yes, they are beautiful, but I don't think I'd want to do that constantly for a living. I really don't think I would want to do that. And at the time, it wasn't that I didn't think I could really necessarily do it. It was that I knew that was not something I would want to do on a consistent basis like that. At that time, and with that part, well, there are several do-it-yourself projects that I did for the wedding. I did little tea-light things. I did a bunch of different things. I did my own invitations. I did a lot of that stuff. I remember thinking back then that it wasn't, I don't remember thinking I couldn't really do it. I just remember thinking I didn't really want to do it. But there have been other times when it's been more of, I didn't think I could do it. Like with some stuff, with art stuff, my daughter said, Mom, you really should think about opening an Etsy store. You really should think about opening an Etsy store. And you know, to tell you the truth, I mean, I could probably do that stuff and make extra money. And I don't doubt my talents when it comes to do-it-yourself kind of stuff. Why do I doubt myself so much when it comes to the writing and stuff like that? But there's this little subconscious voice that says, so maybe you're okay. You're an okay writer. But are you really okay enough to get published? Or even if you self-publish, are you really sure that people aren't going to laugh at you? That people aren't going to give you like 1-star reviews? You're going to suck. You know that, right? You're going to suck. Nobody's really going to want to read it. So I was thinking when I was doing this week's stuff, week 3's, why do I have so much self-doubt when it comes to writing? Why do I have so much self-doubt when it comes to my own ideas, my own things? Because there are certain things, even with the do-it-yourself stuff, that I'm like not so sure about. I doubt myself too much. A part of it has to do with the baggage from growing up, and artistic pursuits are frivolous. Artistic pursuits aren't real jobs. Being an artist or a writer or you're not going to make starving artist thing. You need to go ahead and just go out and get a real job. I've realized, thanks to this course, if I don't have confidence in me and in my writing, how do I expect publishers or agents or anybody else to? And I'm not going to be angry with myself anymore. I'm just going to do what I need to do. The synchronicity part came up when I was in the middle of week 3. I got some emails and saw some stuff about a poetry workshop, about a plotting workshop, and a few other things. These were all free things. Journaling, one of them has to do with the journaling thing. They were all free. And I'm like, you know what? I was supposed to be sent these things. I was supposed to be sent these things. So I signed up for them. And I am actively doing the plotting workshop right now. The poetry workshop doesn't start until the 29th. I'm excited about it too. I haven't written poetry on a regular basis in years, probably about 6 years, maybe a little bit more. I used to write poetry all the time. I had huge stacks, and all of that is gone, burned, thrown away. Ex still has it, you know, that kind of thing. And I don't have any regrets about that. What I do have regrets about, though, is that I have let, for whatever emotional, mental issue, keep me from writing poetry on a regular basis again. I've only written a handful of poems in the last 5 or 6 years, probably 6.5 years. One of them was a Valentine poem for my husband. Yeah, I think one was a birthday or an anniversary poem. I think it's important for me to get back to doing the things that I love and that make me happy, creatively speaking, I'm going to live a creative life, and the self-doubt and those things are just going to have to, they have to stop. I'm not going to put up with doubting myself that much. I'm not. That's, week 3 really made me think about some things. I missed a day of morning pages, and I felt really guilty about it. As a matter of fact, Saturday morning I didn't do morning pages either, and I felt really bad about that. So I've realized that I have to be kind of careful. I don't like missing the morning pages. It kind of throws my day off. So I am going to figure out something better that works for me with the morning pages. And especially when my husband is home, when he is off, because that kind of just throws my whole schedule out of the window. If you are doing the Artist Way, if you are writing about it on a blog, or if you're making videos about it or anything, give me a link below in the comment section. I'm going to start putting links for anybody that I find that are actually doing them. And I hope you guys have a good one, and let me know how your weeks are going with the Artist Way, how you're doing, and whether you like it, and if you're finding it helpful. And I will talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.